Welcome to the Mind Your Wedding Business podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 30 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. I'm here with Daniel Linares, and he's the owner and founder of the DLE Event Group. So, Daniel, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
I am excited to have you as well. So, Daniel, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how we got you here today?
Absolutely. So, born and raised, boy from Queens, New York. New York City is where our company's based out of. Always came from a performance background and went to a high school called Frank Sinatra School of the Arts. Music has always
sounds
been
fancy.
Founded by Tony Bennett. I used to see Tony Bennett all the time.
No way.
He lived until his I think mid to upper 90s. He just passed away in the last couple of years, I believe.
I did an event with him one time. Yeah, no, it was the most incredible. Yeah, it was a surprise to the guest, and he came out in San Francisco and sang "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" to everyone. Yeah, so
naturally, I was going to guess that when you said San Francisco. I'm like, he probably sang that song.
Yeah,
no, just a sweet guy. But like high school and even middle school, like I was in a boy band with like four other guys back when the NSYNC, Backstreet, B2K, Boys to Men. So like music was just always a part of my world. And fast forward, it was like first event I ever did was in high school. One of the people in school asked if I could do it because I had a home studio, and they're like, "Oh, you have a home studio where you're recording people. Do you have could you DJ an event?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." And bought some equipment and did my first event. And just zoom forward, I just continued to be curious on like, wait, I could actually take this thing that started out as a hobby of playing music and create a legitimate business. And that's just been since high school. 2005 is when I graduated. So like 21 years later, it's just been a constant iteration of growing. And, the different chapters of my life of like what I wanted in my teens and 20s is probably very different. Not probably, it's very different to what I wanted in my early 30s, to my mid 30s, and now my late 30s of what I wanted my life and business to look like. And I know we're going to talk a lot about how that happened today, but just very blessed to have like been curious and throughout my journey, just seek out the masters of like, how can I figure this out of people that have really figured it out for themselves in their business. And so just performance creative turned entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. All right. So we're going to jump right into here. So what did your business look like before you started delegating effectively?
Yeah. So there's this analogy that I heard at some point where you're the dancing bear at the circus. If you don't have the help around you. And, it pretty much came down to every time we performed, I was the dancing bear and we would produce. And when I wasn't dancing and wasn't performing, because we run an events company, we're doing entertainment for weddings, we weren't making money. And so it started to get to the point where like, how can I stop being the dancing bear? Not for just performance, but like the dancing bear for admin, the dancing bear for planning, for conversations with clients, for when leads come in, getting in touch with those people. Like, so the analogy dancing bear is just, you're just wearing all the hats for all the different components of the business. And yeah, it kind of got to the point where, okay, well, I don't want this to be the case forever. How can I begin to think about letting go? And letting go is the hardest piece of any business owner, any entrepreneur. Because look, it's your baby, it's your business, your reputation, putting it in the hands of somebody else. It's scary. As a matter of fact, I was in a room, Tony Robbins, an event called Business Mastery, and all business owners were in the room. I'll never forget him asking, how many of you have not let go and have grown your business because you're scared that nobody else can do it the way you do it, and therefore you've never made the move? 5,000 people were in the room, Kevin. and like 95% of hands went up.
Wow.
And I realized, having learned more at that event, it's the beliefs of what we believe is the world we live, and it's the business that we have.
Yeah.
And I started to realize, wait, the people that were growing and started to actually let go were the ones that were taking the calculated risk, but then getting to a point of like normalization. When you find the right people, it's like, oh my gosh, I should have done that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole letting go of business, like delegation, it it's really what has set me free in a lot of the different areas of my business.
So was that so that moment with Tony Robbins, was that specific moment where you realized I can't keep doing everything myself, or was there another moment that happened, or
It was definitely one of the moments,
okay.
and I feel like I'll call it the who game. Like the who
Yeah.
game is the delegating, the letting go, the finding the support around you. There's just been levels to the who game that, there's this book that was pretty pivotal in this area called Who Not How by
Mhm.
Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And the essence of the book is stop trying to figure out all the how yourself and doing all the how yourself. Find great who's to help you do all the how for your
Mm.
business. And that book was just like another level of the who game, right? There's always
Yeah.
new levels of wisdom in things that we understand or have figured out, but there's always these more levels of the sensei, the levels of the black belt, but then there's
Yeah.
the second level, third degree, fourth degree back. So like there's all these levels on how to think of it. The way I think of levels in delegation is like, sure, there's the full timer, which is probably the most intimidating. Let's get somebody full time and pay them full salary, somebody that's really good. It's very expensive. Like all that is a little overwhelming. Then there's the part timer,
Mhm.
but then there's also full timers overseas that can help you that are
Yep.
not quite as expensive for creatives that maybe that's a better investment. But there's also micro specialists, I like to call them, or freelancers, people that you could find that have an area of specialty to help you with the thing. Like you don't need to
Mhm.
be an expert in all the things.
No.
Who's the expert that can help you with, maybe it's search engine optimization or optimizing your building your website, or I was coaching somebody who runs an event company on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast in New York,
Mhm.
and he's like, I just spent 2 hours redesigning a page on my website. I said, "You need to stop doing that."
Yeah.
And then he told me that days later, he's like, "Dan, I was thinking about what you said, and you're right." I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, and his circumstances are he hasn't let go of anything. Like he's been in business
Mhm.
25 years. He hasn't let go of anything. And so the who game, it's a scary one, but entrepreneurs need to realize that with growth, there's going to be fear, there's going to be uncertainty, and there's going to be discomfort. A lot of people stay away from the fear. A lot of people stay away from the uncertainty. A lot of people stay away from the discomfort, which is why they never let go of areas of the business that they should, and they stay there for the entire existence of the business. I'll even put my
Yeah.
dad in this category. Immigrant from Colombia, moved to New York when he was 7, worked very hard, became a dentist. And I'm very blessed to his journey. And he's got a couple people around him, but he's never hired the other dentist. It's always just
Mm.
been him. He had an office in a part of Queens that was closed 5 days a week. It was only open 1 or 2 days a week. And then he had another office that was open 3 or 4 days a week. And like he just was stuck in that dancing bear because he didn't want to let go. And
Mhm.
so for me, it's been such a passion of letting go and learning, right? So it's like that one didn't
Yeah.
work. What wisdom can I learn from this? And so letting go and delegation has been a big game changer for me.
It's always very interesting to me because in the wedding industry, where we kind of frown upon the people that do the DIY, and but yet we do a lot of DIY ourselves in our own business. Exactly with what you said about the gentleman working on his web page when he could hire a web designer, and that would free up his time to probably be more creative and do more of what you're passionate about. So it's just very interesting to me how a lot of us in the industry get stuck with whatever that is. And a lot of times it's multiple things from, it could be as simple as you have an office, you clean it yourself, or, instead of
Right.
hiring a service, or, there's so many, an accountant, you name it, SEO, like what you said, but that's where I think a lot of us in the wedding industry, we're just afraid of letting it. I don't know if it's afraid of letting go or a fear of paying for it. I don't know where that comes from. Do you have any thoughts on that?
People just think that if they're going to do it themselves, that it's going to get done the right way every time.
Yeah.
And, oh, well, if it gets done the right way every time, then there won't be an error. And then my client won't see the error. And so it's like this inner dialogue, another thing I've learned through my personal development journey, Kevin, is like growth and like progress. Cause some people want to grow and some people want to stay where they're at. That's okay. The person that I was just referring to who's in one of my groups, I'm coaching on the West Coast. He said, I got to find somebody to take my bookkeeping off of my plate. I'm like, yeah. And web design and this and this. I have probably 24 freelancers, 24 that I don't pay full time, that are not these exorbitantly priced people that I'm paying $100 an hour, $200 an hour, $500 an hour. You can find really great people at very affordable rates to help delegate your bookkeeping, to help delegate your web design, to help delegate certain parts of the business. Here's where I was going with the previous thought. 80% of growth and progress and hitting new heights in your business is mindset, is your belief systems, is what you've been conditioned to believe, is what your parents or your friend group or what you've learned throughout your journey has conditioned you to believe. And 20% is strategy. 20% is the tactics.
Wow.
People think it's, oh, I got to learn the next strategy and then I'll be able to grow the business. Sure, that's a little bit more incremental. But when you can think about your thinking and unlearn the 80% of the programming that might be keeping you where you're at. And I'm not saying programming is a negative thing. Sometimes you're programmed to be really happy and to be really, abundant thinking. Or sometimes you're programmed to be more scarcity thinking. Oh, well, if I hire somebody, the business is going to tank and it's going to fail, right? That's a scarcity thought.
Yeah.
That's holding you back from actually doing what will likely set you free if you do it the right way. And so sometimes wedding pros in particular are like seeking the next growth strategy, when it's sometimes, what is the inner story I'm telling myself? What's that inner narrative that is not serving me in what I'm truly trying to build for my business?
Want to do more than just listen to the conversation? We're always looking for wedding pros to join us as a guest on the Mind Your Wedding Business podcast. If you have insight, experience, or lessons to share, we want you behind the mic. Apply to be a guest and come mind your business with us. Yeah. I mean, you talked a little bit about fear, a little bit about like kind of hesitation. So what fears or hesitations did you have around letting go before you started letting go?
It's not perfect. I think there's a lot of perfectionists in the creative world of weddings, right? There's perfectionists, like the florist that needs to get it done perfectly, and their hand needs to touch every piece, every centerpiece. So like waiting for perfect or the right time is not now, it's in the future at some imaginary not now time. And so I think perfection keeps a lot of people frozen. And I've learned imperfect action, when you feel 75% good enough or it feels 82% ready, do it. Like let's use the web design example. Oh, well, I like using Squarespace to redesign my own site. It's easy. And, you look back, you're like, wow, I just spent 4 hours doing something and it's not the best use of your time. You should be using your time on things that are going to grow the business or things that fills you up. Now, web design might fill you up. And if you're happy doing web design, okay. If you're happy where your business is, great. If you're happy where your personal life is, great. If it's all balanced, I'm not talking to that exact person. You figured it
Yeah.
out, fantastic. Do what you love. But if you're treading water and you're doing too many things across the board, and you're treading water and you know, you're kind of getting overwhelmed with doing too much, and you see it's and it feels like there's no end in sight, that's who I'm talking to.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, interesting you say like everyone kind of gets fulfilled for different things. And it made me immediately think of this story. I met a gentleman through the local chamber of commerce here, super rich, owns tons of like apartment complexes and all that kind of stuff. But one of his favorite things to do was to go collect all the money from the laundromats in his, and he just loved collecting all the change. And it was just, and I'm like, don't you have someone that could do that for you? And he's like, no, that's one of my favorite things to do. So everyone's gonna, like you said, some to fill up their bucket or their cup or
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
It's gonna be different for everyone. So that's,
Sure. I mean, I
yeah.
guess you get dopamine hits when you're like pulling the quarters out of the
Yeah,
machines. It's
yeah,
like, oh yeah, fantastic.
yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you're spending your time, to your point, picking up the quarters when, boy, if you spent your time over here doing
Mhm.
these activities, like what are the one, two, three primary levers that if you only focused on those things are going to help you build your business to where you're trying to get to, right? So
Yeah.
some people are trying to do more events,
Mhm.
or some people are trying to do less events but charge more,
Mm.
right? So the beauty of our world, especially if you're an owner, is like you could choose of like, what do you want the business to look like? The business that got you to where you are right now, beautiful. It's a blessing. But
Mhm.
what do you want it to be a year from now? What do
Yeah.
you want it to be 2 years from now? How about 3 years from now? And it's those future growth decisions that are going to be uncomfortable. And it's going to require a new pathway of thinking. And so that's, I think, where, you're continuing to reinvent yourself is not an easy thing to do over and over.
No.
But when you can embrace it and realize that it's in that discomfort, it's in those butterflies that you have inside of your stomach when you're doing and trying new things or hiring new people, that's usually where the most of where the growth lies.
Mm. Yeah, no. There's so much, there's so many like layers to the onion when it comes to this. It's amazing. So what are some most common mistakes you see when wedding pros try to delegate?
So that's a great question. I would say the first one is they don't know how that person can help them be successful in the role. They just say, "Hey, you know what? I need somebody to help me as an admin in the business," right? So maybe they're helping with email, maybe, virtual assistant or executive assistant is a very popular initial hire. So you
Mhm.
can free up some of that time. Um, but I think they hire somebody and then just like, "Hey, help me be successful," and they get stuck with trying to teach everything to the person. And so it's like initially it's a little you're just a little sloppy and it doesn't make sense. And you're like, this doesn't work. I'm spending more time teaching this person than I am being freed up. So I'm just gonna like let the person go. It wasn't a fit.
Mhm.
Oh, it's
Mhm.
not for me. Delegating and hiring people, it's not for me. I'm just gonna keep it the way it's been and stay in that zone. Um, the proper thing to do is to realize like you're going to learn and get wisdom and initially, especially if it's your first time getting somebody or somebody new in a role, there's going to be a little bit of bumps in the road, but just be open to iterate. Be
Mhm.
open for iterations. Okay, how can I help you be successful, or how can I help you help me be successful in what I'm bringing you on for? The best people to hire are people that have already done similar things or have helped others in similar ways. So like, one of the roles we have in our company is what's called an SDR, a sales development representative, and like they are supporting all prospects in getting contacted immediately, in making
Mhm.
sure that they're getting what they need. Did they get the email that we sent them? Are they getting the proper quote? So their job is to help sales ultimately get to the finish line or make sure prospects are so their sole role is revenue generation
Mhm.
support. And so, that role in and of itself has been a huge unlock for us. And it was just constant iterations, constantly getting better in what can we do to improve? What can we do to improve? And that would be my advice to people is like, don't go into it thinking it's going to be perfect from the
Yeah.
get go.
Yeah.
It's like, give yourself some grace. Okay, what happened? What maybe didn't work? How can we improve it for next time? Because it's usually not the fault of the team member. It's usually the fault of the owner that did
Mm-hmm.
not set proper expectations of how something can be successful. And even if you did set proper expectations, it takes sometimes a little bit of learning and iterations for it to really cement inside of somebody's mind of like how to get it better for next time.
It's like there's gonna be a lot of pain points along the way, and you just gotta learn to overcome them, and just get through it, I think is the biggest thing.
You have to be
So
okay with, okay, this person may make a couple of errors. It's not
mhm.
going to change the world, or your company's not going to sink to the bottom of the ocean,
No.
because of a couple of errors. Be okay with it, but make sure that you have a system in place so that you can give proper feedback, that you could, minimize the downside for next time. And the growth is in the iterations, and just realize that that's how you're going to grow, is when there
Yeah,
is some discomfort, is when some of the team members are not doing something exactly the way it needs to be. It's going to make you a better founder.
yeah, I agree. Alright, so we're kinda talking about, like, afraid of losing control and all that different kinda thing. So what are people actually afraid of losing when delegating? Like, control? Is it quality? Is it maybe identity? Like, something people recognize this certain business with this certain person? What do you think it is?
The being afraid of delegating, I think, is just the fear of the unknown. It's
Mhm.
like, what is more known is I already know how to do all this, so I'm not going to delegate it. And what is more known is, oh, well, I've been successful for X amount of years doing it my way. So if I just continue doing it my way, I'm not going to have any stress, and I'm going to just be calm, cool, and collected for the unforeseeable future. And I think comfort is what we're taught in school in some ways. It's like, if you study, if you do really good on tests, then you'll be a good student and you'll get really high grades and you'll go on to be successful, and certainty, 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 comfort, 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 comfort. I think that is a little bit anti what it takes to be a business owner.
Hmm,
Is like, let's be okay with the unknown. Let's be okay with the discomfort of letting something go. But you have to have the abundance frame of mind of like looking at it from a positive frame from the get go. And even when things don't go to plan, or somebody has a bit of an error or mistake, not the scarcity frame of mind of, oh, I should have just done this myself. Okay, how can we do better for next time? What was the system that me as the owner should have had in a, position in a different way? And now look, sometimes it's not the right fit. They may mess up the
mhm.
second time, the third time. Okay, what's the abundance frame of mind for the person who maybe wasn't a right fit? Okay, well, I need to do a better job vetting. Like, here's an example on what people can do to maybe know whether or not it may be a good fit in a collaboration. Here's what you could do. Let's just say somebody you want to help you out. Create a mini project for them to do, pay them for it, and make it related to the role. So let's say, hey, I'll pay you for 2 days. I'll give you, you just negotiate your rate, whatever that might look like. You pay them for 2 days. And then you try to consolidate all the potential things that they would potentially be doing in these little like micro projects. So if it's somebody that is helping in a sales capacity, you want to find a great salesperson. Okay, well, maybe they could actually call a few leads that have come in recently, give it a shot, and see if they could lead them along in the sales process. Or how would they respond to an email? That's one of the tasks.
Mm,
And so, like, try to consolidate all the potential things and just see how they are. Give them minimal direction to see how they're naturally wired, to see if they'd be successful in the role. So, like, there's ways of easing into it
yeah,
instead of going for the long-term marriage and you pay somebody full time and all these things. Like, date them a little bit with a sample project,
yeah,
with learning to see if it'll work, and then you'll kind of know. And sometimes we'll even do this with like 3 or 5 people, Kevin. It's like, okay,
mhm,
let's do 3 or 5 sample small commitments, and see, we'll like mess things up, like make sure, like we won't even include the right password for a login because it's like, are they even going into it?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's their attention to detail? So like
Mm-hmm.
there's little ways to test people out, and give them this initial test, and instead of just one, you could try multiple. So there's a number of ways to do that.
Yeah, that's really good advice right there because I think a lot of people, like you said, you're not going for the long term commitment right out the gate. You're easing your way into it, and then that might, as the business owner, ease the stress that goes with letting go of some of
That's
this
right.
stuff. Yeah. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah. So how do you maintain your creative vision, brand standards when handing off the work? Yeah.
It's a good question. I think as a visionary, as an owner, the future of the business might have what 5 years ago looked nothing like. So, like for example, like we're all in different phases of life. My wife and I had a little guy, Luca, 21 months ago next
No,
week.
congratulations.
Thank you. And we're expecting another in October. And it's like, okay, well, this stage of my life is very different than it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 10 years ago before that. And it's like, we're like building a business that's like mostly remote. So like our events business, our wedding and production business is mostly remote. So like we
Hmm.
have a location in Midtown New York City, but we said, all right, let's design the business to be more remote so that, and honestly, the pandemic is helpful in
Yeah. Yeah. It
what was
has.
helpful in that respect.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would say vision wise, the beauty of vision is you can just create whatever you possibly want in the future. And it depends on the stage of life that you're in. So like for me, one of the things I'm passionate about is how can I get as many things out of my area of responsibility into somebody else on the team so that the day-to-day of the team is not in my area of responsibility and it's in the area of responsibility of others around.
Hmm.
And so things like, planning calls with couples or, project management, all the different projects that are moving forward. We just shot a marketing video 2 weeks ago in a studio and like just getting really great who's to bring things to the finish line. And I think the secret is, Kevin, you just need to articulate what success looks like in a project so you can hand it
Okay.
off. So like for example, we're doing a wedding in Prague in May in Czech
Hmm.
Republic. We're not in Europe a lot, but somehow a American groom in Germany found us in the US. His bride to be is from the Ukraine, and Czech Republic was this like perfect place in between. And
Yeah.
so we have a way of articulating with clarity what are all the things that need to be successful in order for our Prague logistics to be smooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a tool that I have. It's called the Focus Catalyst, where it's like, what does success look like for? Okay, we need lodging. That needs to be successful. We need flights. We need to make sure visa requirements. So you just think through the entire project in advance,
Hmm.
write it all out, and then you could just pass it off to a team member that can go on and execute it.
Hmm.
There's this thing called 10-80-10 that I really love. I think it might
Okay.
have come from Dan Martell or somebody like that. And it's like you as the leader are involved in the first 10% of the direction of what a project might need to be. But then somebody else is doing the other 80% heavy lifting, the forward momentum, the progress, the setting up calls, etc., booking hotels or flights and what have you. And then the last 10%, you're maybe involved to just finalize and solidify things in that
Hmm.
way. And so that Prague example, there's a document I filled out. I sent it to my personal assistant, and he took care of like 90% of it,
Yeah.
like 90% of it. And so I think for people that are like, all right, how do I let go? You just want to map out the success of a project or the success of an area. Let's say it's like you're onboarding, like map it all out so that somebody can follow it and record some videos, a Loom video, or hey,
Hmm.
here's how you do this. And here's where you're doing a good job. Create resources that set them up for success. And so that's just a little bit of how I've been able to let go more and more is I'm thinking through the entire piece and they'll only come to me if there's any like major challenges or obstacles.
Yeah, and that's a good place to be in with everything.
Want to share your expertise with the wedding industry? Wedding IQ is written by wedding pros for wedding pros, bringing real insight, education, and experience to the forefront. If you have something to say and a passion for helping others grow, we'd love to feature your voice on the blog. Head to weddingiq.com to learn more about becoming a contributor.
So, is there Daniel, in your business, like systems, processes, software that has helped you create and ensure consistency across your entire team?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kevin. I think for a while I was like, is there the perfect software that's
No,
going to
there's
change
never.
it
No,
all
no.
for me?
Yeah, there is not.
Correct.
Yeah, go.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's like
I
I
went
used to
down that
look up,
road. I went down that road, so I know what you're talking about.
what's
And I
the
can
software?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it
No.
ClickUp? Is it Monday? Is it
Yeah.
Asana? Is it
Yeah.
Basecamp? Is it
Mhm.
right? Like, is it Trainual? Like there's software called Trainual where
Yep.
you could
Yep.
like document everything and
Yep.
people track internal team members' progress on their
And
training.
that's expensive, that one.
It is expensive. And do you need Trainual for,
Yeah.
if you're a small business? Probably not. Probably
No.
not.
No.
You're right. It's probably like $3 to $5 grand a year or something.
Oh, it was
crazy like that.
it
Or
was
like
it was
like $500 a month, maybe.
it was
Something like
yeah,
that.
it was around that number. Yeah.
I'm like, small business doesn't need that for a training,
No.
training software. So honestly, Kevin, the way I think about this, we're using Google Sheets for, for articulating a part of the business. So for example, is this analogy of if you think of a relay race,
Mhm.
usually 4 people, if you just think of the Olympics, for example, where you're just like one runner is passing the baton to another. And in a relay race, each person has their area of responsibility, and then they pass the baton to the next person who's got the next area of responsibility.
Mhm.
And so the way I think about systematizing parts of the business is like a baton. And so like use onboarding, for example. So somebody hires us, that's got a sequence of things that happen and in what order and how to do it. But then when the payment is made and the client commits, the baton gets handed to the person in charge of onboarding.
Mm.
Now, maybe for you, whoever's watching this, maybe it's you doing both, or you have somebody that's doing both, but it's still an area of responsibility in the business. So it's almost like a domino that when the payment is made, the domino of, okay, what are the sequence of events that now happen for onboarding to be successful? So what happens first when somebody onboards? Oh, well, we take this email template and start filling it in. Hey, payment was received in this amount. You invite them to our online planning environment, right? So it's all these sequence of events. And for us, we have it inside of a Google Sheet. You could technically have them in separate tabs, like from, lead gen and prospecting to sales process to onboarding to planning and sort of beyond. So you could have separate tabs, or you could just have it all in one document and maybe colorize like the different sections.
Yeah.
Don't complicate it.
Yeah.
Like to your point, Kevin, it's like we're all like I need Trainual in order to be organized in my planning. Like for me, and yes, we use Monday.com for some project management and stuff. Yes, there's some software. We use HubSpot for sales and marketing and sure. But sometimes trying to find the right tool is the bottleneck in what's holding you back.
I really
and
agree.
like simple is the way to start. And sure, might we have Trainual in the future because it makes sense with the way our business is growing and operating? It's possible, but right now we have a really thorough Google Sheet that is spread out into different sections. And as we've progressed and iterated on that, I've recorded videos on here's how you do this. And as we get new people involved, oh, can you take care of this for us? The info on how to do it is inside of our Google Sheet. So like that's an example I think that people should think about is just think of it like a baton and all the different sections of let's say the customer journey from prospect all the way through after the wedding.
Yeah.
And maybe asking for referrals, right? Like how can you think through all of it and then it becomes easier to let go?
Yeah. And it's a hard process to get to, but once you get it, I think then that's the secret sauce, because then that's where you can really start, you know, feeling comfortable letting go, because you have a process in place that it's easy for people to follow along, have a system. And the other thing too is what you're doing right now may not be what's going to work for you 2, 3, 5 years from now. That's the other thing. There may be the new version of whatever software that comes, something else great may come out in the next. That's the great thing about all this tech. I live in the world of tech out here in California, and so it's always the new shiny object over there, and I'm like, oh, that might be better. No, it's probably not better, because we have a process in place that works. Why do I keep looking for something else? So
And honestly, I completely agree. Sometimes people are also maybe not wired to be the systems people. How do I do this? How do I take it out of my head? As a matter of fact, I'm not naturally wired in that way. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not the sit back, build an entire system. Like, that's not my natural thing that lights me up. As a matter of fact, it's a little bit on the complicated side, or I need people around me to like pull it out of me, because I'm like, I'd rather be, talking to clients, or, building relationships, like that sort of stuff. So like sometimes it's not you, back to the book I recommended in the beginning, Who Not How. Sometimes it's not how can you be better at thinking about systems. Sometimes it's, is there a freelancer that can help, help push me into the right direction of a framework that can help me, best do this. Some of you might have heard of the software Loom, where you can record a video and then send it off to somebody to communicate something. It skips a meeting, right? Loom has a SOP and like a workflow AI. If you use Loom AI, you could record a video and say, hey, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how to do XYZ. And you talk about it with as much detail and specificity as you can. And then bam, you can just literally output a textual based SOP and then link the video to it, and boom, it's done. So like AI is helping a lot in that respect.
Yeah.
But I also like leaning to experts to shrink my learning curve on how I should do something correctly the first time, even though it may take iterations anyway. But like, I like to lean to people for their expertise, particularly in things like this. Like, oh, like, can you just like, it looks like you have really great reviews on Upwork, which is a freelance website, or on Fiverr for helping people build systems. Can you suggest, based on my current workflow, based on the software that I use, get some advice? Like, look for the masters. Stop trying to do everything yourself. Like, find people you can lean to somebody that you might know, a vendor, a collaboration person that you've worked with before, and ask them like, hey, I'm trying to figure this thing out. It's a bit of a stuck point for me in my business. Can you help? Like, being resourceful and asking is so underrated.
Yeah, I agree. So just you got to have a little bit of humility when you do that, like you don't know everything, and that's even when you let go, like one of your employees might go, you know what, that's a better way of doing it than I used to do it. That's smart, like it's kind of, but it's also, there's like a reward for yourself when you find, like, just, I could think of like stuff that the guys in the warehouse, like I had my certain way of doing things, and now it's developed over years to work better for them out there, because they're the ones out there doing it, so it's like, that's a great idea. Let's implement that. Let's implement this. And, so that's where you never know, when you let go, that's where the next great idea might come from as well. So
100%. Like, sometimes just the ability to think, we've heard this, how some people just like book a day or two, like entrepreneurs feel like, what's his name from Berkshire Hathaway, like
Oh,
Warren Buffett, like he used to
yeah.
just book time away to just think,
Yeah.
instead of being in the day to day, like all the time, and,
No.
treading water, and you're doing your web design, you're doing your bookkeeping, and go. Pause. And what do I really, really want? There's this exercise that I love. It's called like future news story. It's like, if a reporter is interviewing you and writing an article about your business and life 3 years from now, and you could change the time. It could be a
Yeah.
year from now, 3 years from now. I like 3 years because it's not 5 or 10, which is like so
No.
far away, but it's
Yeah.
also not 1. So it's like just far enough to give yourself permission to dream a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And future news story is, if you could wave a magic wand in both your personal life and your business with no limits,
Yeah.
what would you want it to look like? And you have you could use Claude, use ChatGPT to help you kind of expedite this process. But like I say personally and professionally, because it's like, I don't care if your business is doing great and your personal life is falling apart. Like you need to
Yeah.
make sure your personal life is a priority, because when that is properly dialed in, when that's a priority and you're intentional about the professional side as well, that's when you just have a balance in life, which work-life balance, I think, is a myth. It's like a choice. So like what is the balance, and what is going to take more priority this time of year, and that sort of stuff. But that's how I like to think about. And then you reverse engineer, okay, well, it may be scary, all these things I want to happen in the future that this fictional reporter wrote about me. Hey, so Daniel was able to achieve this over the last, right. And then you're like, all right, if this is to be true, then I start to think in like this waterfall effect. If this is to be true, what are all the projects related to that 3-year?
Mm-hmm.
And if the 3-year projects are all mapped out, what is the things in the next 12 months that I need to do? And then what are the things in the next quarter in order for the year to be true? And so just planning and vision and future is, I honestly believe, what it's all about for people that are continuing to reinvent themselves in ways that are intentional, that ways that are in line with like who they want their future life and business to look like, not
Yeah.
staying stuck in where you're at forever. And that's where
Yeah.
just thinking alone is really important.
Yeah, there's when I went to a WIPA meeting one time and the speaker was talking about they would go on like a work retreat with their employees, but they would not conduct or do any kind of sales. It was all about like looking at their processes, or there was a project that they would work on, just scheduling time to get all that stuff done where the day-to-day stuff gets in the way. And I've always been intrigued to do that. I have not yet done it, but it's been intriguing to me because, like you said, and then their reward was we get to so much, we get to go to get happy hour, or like our goal, they start with in the morning with they got to get through X, Y, and Z. And therefore, if they get through that, they get to go do, some fun thing at night. And if they don't get through it, they don't get the reward kind of thing. And it was an interesting concept to me, and kind of same on the same line as thinking, but it just, because I think we get in the day to day and then we just, the stuff that we've been wanting to get done just never gets done. So
Yeah, honestly, like the whole like autopilot of
Yeah.
business or
Yeah.
life, and like sometimes businesses get to that point, owners get to that point. Oh my gosh, I am overwhelmed. I'm working too much. I missed all of the engagements for my kids because I'm so busy doing XYZ. I didn't let go. Like, what does it matter? Like, what matters for me at this stage of my life, Kevin, is I want to make sure that the business supports the life that I am designing for my family.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what it's all about. When not you running your own business that just keeps you trapped inside of it, but a business that can grow and thrive, and you get great people plugged in, and you fit their dreams and their goals and their aspirations inside of your business dreams, goals, aspirations. That's how you can build a company that can grow and run mostly without you as a founder.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but you just have to be willing to go through the motions of a lot of what
Yeah.
we've discussed
Yeah.
here today.
And you're, you personally are only 3 to 5 years away from having a lot of kid activities where, like balancing that and making sure, like I coach Little League baseball. It's a passion of mine. I always joke if I could I'd quit my job, I would become a full-time Little League coach and I'd be happy. But you know what I'm saying? But you got to have all that kind of stuff, but you have to be able to have that balance, and but it's a choice. It is 100% a choice. So
that's right. And so anybody who's watching this and you maybe are overwhelmed or like there's just too much going on, like book a day for yourself to just think. Like this might be a vast concept for many because we're so busy. Everybody's so busy with lots of things. Like book yourself a half day somewhere. Like go to the beach or go hang out in just a cool environment in whatever city you're in, and just think like, all right, like what do I really want? And then what do I have to do to try to make some of these things real? Be okay with not having a clue, like not knowing for one bit how to do certain pieces, when you can start with specificity to articulate what you want your future to be. Like, oh, I'd love to be able to travel, these many times a year. Like, how could that be possible? Marie Forleo wrote a book with a title that I completely agree with. Everything is figure outable is her book title. And I truly believe that. Just because we don't know the current way of thinking on how to create what we really want doesn't mean it can't be true. Back to the mindset piece.
Yep.
You just need to be curious. You need to be resourceful, and you need to find great people around you that can help support what you're trying to create for yourself.
Yeah. All right. So someone might be feeling very overwhelmed right now listening to us talk about all this great stuff. So what's the first thing they should do to just start the delegation process?
Yeah. Do a task or activity inventory, whatever you'd like to call it. What are you doing every week, every day? And this could be over 7 days, over 14 days. But just think about like all the individual tasks that you're doing or you need delegated, and just map it out. Do a dump, call it an activity inventory, whatever you want to call it. Build it out into one list. The software doesn't matter. Just write it on paper or something like a digital list. Map it all out. Once you have that list, smile and say, okay, I've made progress. I have it all written down. Now there's a number of next kind of moves. Now it's like, what is the immediate one that pops out to you of like, oh my gosh, bookkeeping, this needs to be delegated. Okay. I don't enjoy bookkeeping. As a matter of fact, it's the least important, least energizing thing that is on this list. So you might look at it immediately and say, okay, these are the ones that can almost be instant. But what I would say is put it into 4 different categories. What are the 4 areas? One of them is like what you dread. Take from that list into one category. What do you dread? Stuff that like you really should be delegating almost immediately. Then the other categories, it's like stuff that you're kind of competent in, but you don't really enjoy. Then another category is things that you're like very good at. And then the last category is the stuff you really, really love. The stuff that fills you up. And so the stuff that you love are probably things that you're not going to let go of or let go of towards the end after you delegate everything else.
Yeah.
And so take that long list, put it into 4 categories. Just think of it as like what you really don't enjoy at all, and then what you love over here, and then just put some prioritization across the other ones. Also, you can, if you think of Yelp, you can put some $ values attached to some of these.
Yeah, you probably could.
Right? So like, okay, once you have them in the 4 areas of what you really dread and what you love and everything in between, what is maybe $1 delegatable that, oh my gosh, like the web designer thing, for example. We have a really great web designer that helps us every week, all kinds of change, all kinds of iterations, that's overseas. I think we pay him $15 an hour, and he only bills us for 2 hours this week or 5 hours this week or what have you, depending on what we're doing. And boom, that's done. I never have to think about a web page ever again. Yeah. And I have somebody who's actually managing that person, making sure that whatever we're trying to do, like we're continuing to grow with search engine stuff. And so we're just building more pages and this and that and the third. So maybe something like web design is a single $. Then there's maybe something that is like bookkeeping. Maybe it's $2 or $3. Okay, maybe you could find somebody for $25 an hour or $30 an hour or $50 an hour, and you only need them for X amount of hours a month. Oh. And so once you start to map out these certain areas, start to delegate the single $, and the areas in dread first. And it doesn't need to be a full timer. You can find somebody to only do the one thing. And this is where it could become a game changer for you. Honestly, Kevin, the big thing for most people is they don't know how to even process their own thinking.
Yeah.
is how can I organize my own thinking, activity inventory, process it into 4 different zones of priority, put a $ assignment to it, and then start getting rid of what you dread the most initially. And then little by little, you could start letting go of everything. Dan Martell wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. And in the book, he says, don't hire to grow your business, hire to buy back your time.
Mm.
And I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Buy back your time around all the things you dread. Buy back your time about all the things that you're okay with. Buy back your time for all the things that are things you're pretty good at, so that you could only focus on the things that you love.
Yeah.
That's where it gets really special.
I love it. Great advice. All right. We're going to wrap up here. We're getting to the time, but what's one piece of advice you will give someone who feels like they can't let go?
Most of your thoughts about what's complicated and overwhelming and scary and intimidating, 90% of that overwhelm is self-induced.
Okay.
And 90% of what will actually be the case is all imaginary.
Mm-hmm.
It's all imaginary. So what you're thinking right now about this big Mount Everest in order to let go of things, of the complexity, and I've never done it, it's so hard. 90% of that is your own created limitations.
Okay.
It's all fictional.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally all fictional. And so if you could realize, like, oh my gosh, all the overwhelm and the little anxiety, a little stress, the little this, first of all, that should not be indication for you to retreat into safety zone and to not even think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you're staying in safety zone, that's usually not growth. It should be an indication when you're getting those feelings to say, okay, you know what? Some of those feelings are just trying to protect me, but are they all valid, or is it just something I've never tried before? And if I try it, if I embrace the discomfort, might there be growth, and might there be something not nearly as complicated as I think? And the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
I produced this massive marketing thing 2 weeks ago for our hybrid DJ band. We do live DJ, live band productions, and we specialize in hybrid combinations. And now I'm like coaching myself about some of the things that I'm sharing with you right here, which is, I remember looking, like, once we had it all done, it took like 2 or 3 weeks to get done, but it took forever to finally get in motion. Finally, we got it in motion. Then I look back, I'm like, in my head, it was 90% more complicated than it actually was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what I'd say to people is, if it feels scary and, oh my gosh, I should never do this. This is ridiculous. This is not me. I've never done this. We've never done this. This is not who we are, blah, blah, blah. Whatever self-talk you have inside of you, whatever that is, it's usually 90% self-induced, and it's 100% fiction. So what does that mean? Just push forward. It's going to be uncomfortable, but in the discomfort is where all the growth is. We've heard it many ways from many people, and it is 100% true. And you can normalize the discomfort and recognize that that's actually growth in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to continue to create the future and the business that you want.
I love it. Great advice. All right. I can't thank you enough. This has been a great episode, and I think people are going to look back and just have a couple mind blown moments, just like the aha. I need to do that. Yes. Great advice. So I can't thank you enough for being here today. How will folks get in contact with you, find you, learn more about you?
Yeah. Let's connect on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Daniel T. Linares. And I'm also at daniellinares.com. And, I'm just blessed to have been able to share some value with all your listeners, Kevin. I honestly believe I'm put on this earth to serve and to help people and to pour in and add value where I can. Usually the last person that goes to sleep at a networking event, because I'm just like up talking to people. How can I help you? Like, what's a struggle? What's a challenge? So
yeah,
if anybody has any questions or wants any help with anything, just reach out. Happy to help.
All right. I love it. All right. And we'll have all of Daniel's information in the email blast that goes out, as well as we'll go through and pull a couple of those books and for you guys as well that he mentioned in the episode as well, because I think it'd be valuable for everyone. So, folks, we can't thank you enough for being here today. Want to remind our listeners to subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you guys next time on another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business, brought to you by Wedding IQ. If you've got a topic you'd love to hear us cover, or if there's an area of your business you're struggling with, let us know and we'd be happy to help. Don't forget to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and left a review. It helps more wedding pros find us and learn more from our guests too. Thanks again for listening to Mind Your Wedding Business. We'll catch you next time.